Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tom Morey's Future World. Look at all of us here. We've got Hawaii, Seoul, Morey. We've got Lincoln out of Virginia, Naomi in San Diego, Caitlin for Virginia, and we've got Tom on the line, and he's going to talk to us now about some of his future type thinking. How you doing, Tom?
How you doing, sweetheart? You want me to talk about the universal flag? Is that right?
Yes, that you were telling us that you had an idea for a universal flag, and I've got a bunch of young people here.
Let me tell you, the universal flag should be any flag. It could be two things. It could be any flag with a hole cut in the middle, so you can see the earth. Who cares about the colors of some particular so-called country that is all about taxation and separation? I don't want to be part of a country that's different from another country, separated by a language and separated by a flag and separated by anything. I just want to be together with brothers and sisters as one people on this planet. Now, the best universal flag, and I've flown this, and it was wonderful, is you get a piece of clear shower curtain plastic. That plastic is called vinyl, and it's shiny, it's durable, and it reflects light very nicely. I ran that up on a pole out in front of our house, and at night I couldn't believe the beautiful flickering colors that I saw. I saw the reflection of all the stars that were out there. Every time a car went by, I saw these brilliant lights flashing. It was gorgeous. And with more than one flag out there in the neighborhood, you can imagine what this can be. So a clear plastic flag, meaning it reflecting the beautiful colors and attributes of the planet. So that's number one vote plan idea for a universal flag. Now there's some difficulties making this. It's difficult to get vinyl to stick to itself strongly enough so that it doesn't tear apart in the wind, in the various kinds of breezes and winds that we're going to experience. But it is well worth the time for anybody to build their own clear vinyl plastic flag and hang it. And what that flag says to anybody that looks up there, it says, "Oh, what's that about?" And they say, "What is that about?" And what you say is, "We're tired of looking at the artificial colors that supposedly stand for an artificial state or country, and let's just look at a symbol of our beautiful planet. It's got plenty of colors and variations. Let's start with that." So that's the first part of my message. Over.
Okay, so let's get some feedback on that. So what did you, Clayton, what did you glean from what Tom just said?
What I got from it was pretty much that he doesn't want a separation or a divide. He doesn't want a flag that shows that you're different from everyone else or you belong to one single community. He wants it to be one as a whole.
Very good. Wow, that's an A+. Anybody else want to add to that, Lincoln or Naomi? Either one of you add? Go ahead.
I got the same thing. Basically, he wants there to be unity and there to be like a connection between everyone and not to be so separate, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All represented by the same thing and stuff.
Yeah. And Lincoln, do you see that possibly happen in your time? Can you visualize something like that in your lifetime?
You're 40. I think that's definitely possible in my lifetime. I think that humans are humans and we're all equal in every single way, and we all deserve to be united in that way.
Nice. Great observation. Sol, did you want to add anything?
I just think every movement has a beginning, and I love the idea of finding a way to make your own and just start posting it, sending it, even link the story to it. And you may be surprised how many people in a couple of years when you mention it will have heard or will start tagging along. I mean, kind of like the names of the surfboard my dad has coined, you know, a swizzle, these fast track, these these things in our surfing world community, which we are a very big tribe, do go forward. So I hope we as a people in the ocean that really think that the ecology of the world is at hand and it matters are going to maybe take up this flag and or take up the banner of some kind of unity, if you will, and go forward with it.
Mhm.
There's a saying from a great, yes.
Let's not leave out the fact that whatever you make, you can sell it. Now, if it doesn't sell well, then you make it better. You make it more colorful or holding better, together better, whatever. But from the get-go, any kind of a world flag that anybody makes, no matter how dumb, how poorly crafted, it is going to sell. And you fix a pretty good price and run it up the flagpole and see if it sells. And it is going to sell. Over.
That's quite a concept. Thank you for saying over, Tom. Because I remember him telling me once when I wanted to be a singer, he goes, well, you know how you find out if you're a good singer? Just go down on the corner, put a bucket out front and start singing. And if people put money in that bucket, you know you should take a career in singing. I'll never forget him telling me that advice. So he's telling you folks now, you youngsters, well, younger than me, I should say, go out and make one, see what happens. Spread the word of universalism, globalism. We're all one planet. And Tom, you mentioned something about Earth Day, that this would be something good, for Earth Day.
Well, Earth Day is supposedly the 22nd of April. I don't know anything about it, but it's not a bad day to start and to launch for any of us or all of us or any of us to launch the world flag.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
And
go for it.
Yeah. Do you think that if let's say us 6 people, all 6 of us made one, it just how like the trickling effect, like you make one, and then someone will say, well, what is that? And you tell them, then go ahead and go make one. I wonder how fast it would work, because I
depend how well it's made, how well it's displayed, all that kind of craftsmanship stuff. But I made the first boogie. It was a piece of junk visually, but right away it worked. Mm-hmm. As soon as I had one in my hand and was walking away from the beach, this guy stopped me and he says, you want to sell one of those? I said, sure. Yeah. And I had kind of a crummy one. It was small and it was not made very well. I said, how about this one? He said, sure. He said, how much is it going to be? And I made up a number, $10.
Wow.
And he whipped out $10. And that turned this idea into a multi-billion-dollar world encompassing business industry.
Wow. And
you don't know until you try it, man.
That's right. In just a few short minutes that we've been on, listen to one of the comments. I'm totally going to fly a clear vinyl flag. That's all.
Yeah.
In just a few minutes. See how it catches on? God. I would love to see this happen in your lifetime, Tom. I really would. But
God bless that person, man.
Hey, Facebook user, you might want to type in your name. Tom just blessed you.
Well, we don't. Yeah.
But anyway, so what do you think, Caitlin? What do you think? Can you do it? Can you do so? Can you just start something like that? Get it going? You're young.
I think so. With movements nowadays, it's the snowball effect is really in effect. Well, when someone starts doing something, it just branches off and trickles down and it just becomes this huge movement.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. Yep, we got a bunch of.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a sturdy flag that flags on a pole 20 feet in the air. It could just be a T-shirt with a hole cut in it. It could be a piece of plastic that's put in it so you can see. Well, so it just could be anything in the back of your car window, or there could be a flag. The real place to put it is on the car. It sticks up a little bit, and everywhere your car is parked. You know those flags are the American flags that you can buy. They're pretty cheap, but they got a little pole that sticks up and rolls up in your window.
Yep.
Get one of those. Start with something like that. But start making, people talk about the boredom, enjoyment, and all that stuff. none of you people that ride these things have had the enjoyment that I have had. That was, I made one. I made the first one, and I went out and surfed the first one.
Oh.
And I surfed it for several days, and we still have it under the bed here at our house.
Mm-hmm.
But the thrill of making a thing and using it and having it work, God, that's incredible. So love to you people. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah.
And
let me just find out if any of these kids, because this is a big deal for them. They really.
Yeah.
I had a lot of response from everybody wanting to talk to you, Tom. So let me just ask Lincoln. He's 14 years old. He's out of Virginia. If you had one question, Lincoln, to ask Tom, what would that be?
I've never really thought about that because I've never thought I'd get the chance to talk to someone like him. I don't really know what I'd ask him. I'd ask him what inspired you to make a bodyboard in the first place.
How about you, Naomi? Do you have anything you want to ask Tom?
I haven't really thought about that. Just what inspired him to make the boogie board, basically. Like, was there anything that inspired him to make it, or to want to even think about making something like that?
Oh, there you go. That's a good question. What inspired you to make a boogie board, Tom?
That's a long question. I needed to surf. I lived right on the beach. I had the material in my garage from a failed project. I had the means of building it. I had a long experience in building stuff. And so I built one. That's all. But basically, I built one so I could go surfing.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. I guess that was just kind of out of practicality. So what about you, Caitlin? Do you have any questions for Tom, or questions?
Mine was pretty much the same question, but Tom, I was wondering, did you ever see boogie boarding going this far?
Oh, that's a good question.
What's the question?
Did you ever see it? Did you ever think that it would go this far?
This is the most often asked question.
Is it? Mm-hmm.
And the answer is an obvious answer. Of course I didn't. I am not some great seer or God or something. I'm just a guy. Of course I just didn't think it would go, but I got a glimmering of what could be done, because it didn't hurt when I surfed it, and when I landed on my fingers that were underneath the board, between the board and the sand, or the way it was shaped, it didn't hurt it, and the materials, it didn't hurt my fingers. A lot of things like that, And I never guessed it would be so comfortable, and I could take naps on it, and I never guessed that it would fit so easily in the front seat or back seat or trunk or everything but the glove compartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't have to. A person does not need to know the whole answer.
Yeah.
To a question before asking the question. Just ask the question.
Yep.
And you want to make a thing, just make it. If you're going to make candies, you don't have to make a whole box of all different flavors. Just make one, and it'll get eaten.
And that's how he feels about your flag. I love that you said, I'm just a regular guy, and I never knew this would happen. I mean, and think of us like Sol and myself, who were there like in Carlsbad, a couple years in, and for me it was just we didn't even take pictures, like I said, or take history pictures, because we didn't know we were making history. But when you stand up on a pier like at Huntington Beach, and as far as you can see for miles, either way, south or north, are blankets with boogie boards on them, and you come from, like, for me, 45 years ago, you start to get the impact of what Tom has done. And like he said, he's just a regular guy. He would have never, realized this, but I was just a regular person as an employee of his, and I never thought I'd realize this. So look at us today.
I'll tell you a thing about Sol, who's right on the phone there.
Yeah.
He's about 3 years old in the factory in Carlsbad, and there's scraps. The floor is covered with scrap skins and scrap trimmings from the cores. And he's just wandering around there, and he sees a thing that's got some bumps. It's a cutout shape of some kind that fell off of something, and it looks like the water. And he finds something that looks a little bit like a boat, and he borrows. He's only 5. We'll call him 5. And he asks one of the guys with the heat gun if the guy would heat up 2 pieces of foam for him, which he did, and he made a little boat with a little piece of blue foam with ripples on it, and a red thing as a sail and a yellow thing as a boat. He made this little damn thing, and it was cute. And unfortunately, I don't know where we lost it, where it went away. But we had it in the household for at least 20 years.
Wow.
And one of the guys saw that, and this guy started making hats, which he called stupid hats. And he made an upgrade of stupid hats, which he called really stupid hats. And he was using scrap boogie foam, and he would make a thing like a trout fish with outlandish fins and shapes in it, and it would fit on top of your head. And he sold thousands of stupid hats. And I think he could still be selling stupid hats, except maybe he got embarrassed by having to answer questions. What are you doing for a job lately? He said, "I'm making stupid hats."
Yeah. Well,
What's the guy's name?
I have no idea. I don't want to say it over the air for recording.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good story, Sol. Do you remember that?
I remember I remember that piece of foam framed, and it hung around the house here and there for years. Maybe I don't remember the moment, but I remember playing around in the scraps of boogie boards at the shop. Absolutely.
Wow.
And kind of funny thing though, when I was 16 and we lived in Washington State, I went back down there to Carlsbad my summer, and I worked in the shop, BZ shop. I was just like, sweeping up and helping around the shop, and then I got put on the production line of stupid hats.
Oh.
So and then I reached out here to somebody who was posting some things, and it was the daughter of Bobby Zabad, and I think she was in that same helping out with the stupid hats at some point. And she said the name of the fellow, but I can't remember it. But it's a thing to see foam go into so many different avenues of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And we could go on a whole nother story on where polyethylene foam has found its place, or even just the packing industry of everything that goes into the box being sent these days for shipping has to do with boogie board foam, where that was really not something people saw, but my dad saw them throwing away the top part of this foam vat, and he grabbed that stuff, kept it along with him, like this has got to be good for something, and then all these boogie boards in the way of a kit came about, and he was still gluing them on with contact cement. And one day he said that it just got to be too much. The wind would pick up, the skins would fly, stick to trees, give his skin a rash. And he went back to the shop later on when he came back full circle, and he asked, "Hey, what do you guys do for this gluing of this material?" He said, "Oh, there's somebody in the back who uses a heat gun." And boom, that's the beginning of the production industry in Carlsbad, and meeting Jim Favor and getting into cutting and jigs and so forth. So, little by little, just like Dad says, you start building it, make a better one. You see people are interested. They make certain notes about, hey, it could maybe be better supported here, or it rips. And you might have a real product before too long. So I'm kind of moving that way myself with the semi-invisible flag, the transparent world flag. I'm going to hang that thing off the tail of my truck.
No, I mean, I think let's do that as a challenge today. Let's go make one, whatever you want, like Tom said, and put it up. And then let's just see, let's come back and check in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks and just see how we've done. How's that sound? That's your homework. How's that sound? Does that sound
good?
Lincoln, do you think you can do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can. I also wanted to ask Mr. Morey a question, if that's all right.
Okay, please.
Do you think with the clear flag and everything, do you think there's ever a chance of there being like a clear bodyboard or something like that?
Ooh, that's a good question. Did you hear that, Tom?
Well, I've got a huge helicopter come from someplace and it's out here hovering,
Oh,
so I couldn't hear it.
I'm sorry. He asked, do you think there'd ever be the chance that there'd be a clear bodyboard or boogie board?
I know a guy that made a clear surfboard that was terrific and brilliant, and he just abandoned it because it didn't sell right away. And he was using vacuum forming of another kind of plastic, and combining that with heat sealing and inflating. And so there's all kinds of wonderful things.
Okay, so I hope his phone's not running out. Well, we are at a mark actually where we just went a little bit over, and that's okay because it was going really good there. We had some good information, but
I have a bunch of pictures of that surfboard he's talking about, and that
great.
guy coming to the house. Yeah, I'll try and post
Nice.
those.
Well, let's try to catch those, and then we can show Lincoln that maybe there is such a thing.
Yeah.
Any last comments, Naomi, before we end today?
No, just thank you for having me. I think that's really cool. The whole idea of a clear flag. I think I'm gonna try and make one. I think that would be so cool.
Good. Thanks for the spirit. I appreciate that. How about you, Caitlin? You want to make one?
Yeah, I really enjoyed hearing his idea of unity under a flag and kind of using it to bring the whole community together. I really like the idea and the clearness, and it was a really good analogy.
Yeah. You know, it was when he first told me, I kind of felt the same way. I went, God, you know, because we are one people. We are just one color of blood. We are just, you know, all this stuff. So why do we have all these different things when we should just be putting the flag up for the earth? So anyway, here we are today.
There is a quote that that I know my dad has been very inspired by.
Could be many feet. Could be many feet by many feet, but it could only be a couple of inches square.
Right.
And it'll be a start, some kind of a start. It's a beginning. It's an important beginning.
Okay, well, we were here with you today, Tom, and we've considered this kind of a historical call. So what we're going to do is we're all going to make one. We'll come back and we'll take a picture of it, show us where you're displaying it, and then show us what comments you're getting on it. How's that sound? So 3 different parts.
Well, it sounds grandiose, and maybe one person will do something, and that would be great.
Well, we're going to all try, Tom. That's the best we can do. You got some great ideas. We want to thank you today for being with us. I'm sorry that we run over a little bit, but that's okay because, hey, it's okay.
So what is that global quote, Dad, that Baha'u'llah says? The earth?
I think he said goodbye.
The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens.
That's right. That's a very good quote.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Okay.
Adios.
Say goodbye to everybody. Lincoln, thank you so much for coming in and being patient and joining us. And Naomi, thank you from San Diego. You keep boogieing on down there in my home state of California. And Caitlin, good luck to you out there in Virginia. Soul, happy Hawaii. You know, hear the birds.
Maui.
I could hear the birds in the background. And for those of you that would like to have more information about Tom Morey's future world, which we are, you know, clearly going to start this week, you can go over to boogie50years.com and press on the link that says Tom Morey's Future World. And you could read all about what we're going to do in the future. They're going to be random like this. We're going to have one subject, but we might go off onto another one like we did. But that's the beauty of being with Tom. And so I want to thank everybody once again for coming into this second historical, because the universal numbering system was our first one. Did you see that, Saul?
Oh, no, I didn't see very well that. Oh, great.
Yes, and so that was our first one.
The pink.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
2021. And So now we're going to continue on with these and have some fun with them. So thank you all once again. And I guess I can say, don't go away, but I'm going to end this broadcast, and I will see and talk to you all on the next episode.
Morey's World.